So, out in the global environmental, the compliance industries, they're always waiting for a perfect combination of ecology and compliance. So, CISEC is still CISEC, and we just rebranded. It doesn't mean that Ecopliant Environmental bought us out. They did not. What it is we just they've become our parent company. So that's our first choice of environmental professionals. So, okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, since we rebranded, we're better off now and we can align with the growing global needs where you need training, you need credentialing, expanding the demand for the environmental compliance and the professionalism and those that, choose to be out there.
Hey there, welcome to the Stormwater World Podcast. Shout out to our parent company, Digital Stormwater. We're out there making an impact in stormwater one click at a time. We put more stormwater people in front of your stormwater products and services. How we get there is totally up to you. Some of the services that we offer are social media management, Google, LinkedIn, and Meta ads, SEO and content creation, website builds and updates, AI automations, consulting, and a lot more. So the question is who do you know that needs our help? If you're on YouTube, you can click on that QR code to learn more, or you can give us a call at 844-451-2534, or you can visit us at digitalstormwater.com and schedule a call with us today. I'd like to thank everybody that's been listening to this podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you. Let's get back to the episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of the Stormwater World Podcast. With me today is Ms. Shauna Nevin. She's with Ecopliant, and we're going to talk about how CISEC is now Ecopliant. So welcome, Shauna. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Always good to see you, get a chance to talk to you. It's like I've known you and CISEC and Sherry and Tina and Jerry. I've known all y'all for well over a decade now going on. And so it's very cool. It's always cool to get to talk to your friends. So
yeah,
thanks for taking the time to come on the podcast. And we've got some things that we want to talk about, right? So CISEC has rebranded into, and maybe we could say branched out, grown up, evolved into what is now Ecopliant Environmental. But before we get into the rebranding, I want to take everybody back. I think, as far as our listeners go, I really like to talk to the folks or make sure that the folks that are new to the industry are aware of what's going on. Sometimes I get in these conversations with friends and we start throwing out the lingo and the things, and we've got all this history, and we really probably should start from square one. So let's do that. So,
okay.
Tell me, what is a CISEC? What is CISEC? How do I become it? Let's go into all the things CISEC first.
Okay. So CISEC was organized in 2008 and 2008. And so what happened is CISEC is certified inspectors in sediment erosion control. And it's usually out on construction sites. So you actually you take trainings and you take a full examination. And once you're certified in that, then you are qualified to go out on a construction site and be an official inspector. So that's where this all came about, is because of the need of inspectors out in the construction fields.
And do you can you differentiate? I mean, obviously there's other credentialing companies out there or certification companies. Like, what sets the CISEC certification apart from others, in your opinion?
In my opinion, what it is, it's an in-depth training. So you learn in detail about not only the CGP, not only about the EPA and the different rules and regulations. And what happens is you actually learn and are educated in environmental compliance. So it's worldwide. And what happens is it's really intense. So when you go out onto the site, you are so qualified, you can look at something and say, what are your BMPs? That means your best management practices. What I can sign off on the SWIP reports that are out there as an inspector, and then you detail and you go back and you're representing them and keeping construction sites and companies from being fined. And so we work as a team. And so our goal is, I like people to know that an inspector is actually your friend. And so when you get to know them really well, they come out and they help you to move on better in the construction field of all of the rules and regulations you have to do. So that's why we are set a little bit farther apart. We go in depth. And then when we're training, we will find out, we know what state you're from. And if you have some concerns, the instructors will figure that out for you and explain it farther in detail.
And what's the process? Do I go online and get trained? Do I sign up for a class? Like how do I step through that process? Do I have to apply and qualify to become a CISEC?
You do. And so there's 3 different ways that we do this. We do in-person trainings. And what it basically is you go online into ecopliant.org, our website, and you go up to where the CISEC is, and then you fill out an application. Once you fill out this application, then you will have all of the details. And if you are applying for a full inspector, then what happens is there's more of an in-depth. So we have 3 parts of an exam. And so when you're taking the actual training, you can take it before we even talk about the exams. You will be taking and signing up just for the training. So we do live in-person ones, and that's a day and a half. Or you can do once a month. We offer a 4 hour, 3 days a week. On the 3rd week of the month, and then you take that with a live instructor, and that's your webinar. Or you can actually, your 3rd option is you can go online and you can actually take the training through a virtual. And so then you can take it and take certain sections at a certain time. You don't have to take it all at once, where the rest of them are with live presenters.
Okay. So you got it all covered. So you can go live online, you can go live in person, or you can do it webinar style at your own pace. Is that correct? So then when I get, no problem. Then when I get done, now I need to apply to take the exam to actually get my my credentials.
Yes. So you would fill out an application. And so what happens then when you're taking, let's say, an examination live in person, then we do the training. It's a day and a half training, and it's 12 hours. So a day and a half training. The afternoon of the 2nd day is when you take the actual examination. And then when you're doing it online, with a live the webinar that way, then you can schedule your exam through a secure proctoring service that we use, and then you set up, they offer it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you set up the time that is best for you, and you can take your examination. The same thing that happens with the online the modules that you're doing, you do that also the same way, that you go into our secure proctoring service and take it on your time frame.
Gotcha. All right, very cool. And then the most, I guess, the upcoming live training, it will be in Richmond, Virginia, right, at the IECA conference. Is that correct?
Yes, it'll be at the IECA conference in Richmond, Virginia, and that'll be on the 24th and the 25th of February.
Okay, so that's actually as the conference is starting then, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like almost
Yes, it'll be the Monday and the Tuesday, and the actual conference starts on Tuesday.
Gotcha.
So we do pre-conference training.
I gotcha. So you can go to the IECA.org website, you can go to their conference tab and go to the event, and you can find the online training schedule, and CISEC Ecopliant will show up there. And then you can also go to the Ecopliant.org website and find it there if you're interested in joining us there in Richmond for their next live training. So very good. Very cool. All right. Fantastic. Yeah. And then, so when I apply to be a CISEC, what kind of qualifications do I need? Do I need so many hours of experience? Do I need a college degree? Like what do I need to be able to qualify to apply?
Okay. So we have 2 sections there. If you have not had any experience of any kind, you can take the full training. Then you can take our in-training examination. And so it's multiple choice and true false. So you can have, that's less than 2 years of experience. And so then you can go ahead and take that part of the examination because you've taken the training, and that'll qualify you to be out on and in training on a construction site. And you will learn everything that you need to get qualified. And then once you're qualified and get your 2 years full experience, then you only have to take part 2 of the examination. If you have over 2 years and you've been in the construction field, you've done all kinds of, you can do it with college with your different credits, and they'll look at the qualifications that you have. Then you can take the full examination, and that will have parts 1 and 2 together. And so that will be the true false multiple choice. And then you'll have 10 photographs that you'll go through like your inspector, and you'll write up about everything that you need to know on those pages.
Gotcha. Very cool. So it's a little bit more thorough of a process. Some stuff out there, you sit through it online, you click some buttons, you take a quick test, and they send you something in the email, and you're done. So a little bit more of an extensive process, not only checking whether you have the knowledge, but that you have some experience to go with that knowledge. So very nice, very nice. And then we'll link in the show notes for anybody. I know that was a lot of information on that process pretty quickly, but we'll put that in the show notes, and you'll be able to see all that information on the Ecopliant website. So with that being said, let's get back to Ecopliant. What is Ecopliant? What happened there? You guys what were the decisions that were made? How did that come about? I mean, it's been a couple years, but I just still feel like I've still got plenty of CISEC chapstick, in my desk drawer right here from all the conferences we've gone to. I think Sherry would track me down and make sure I don't know if I always just looked like I had, dry mouth or whatever, but dry lips, not chapped lips. But she always made sure I had my CISEC chapstick. So it's hard when you have such good branding when you're trying to evolve. So tell me what's going on with the new name.
Okay, so, out in the global environmental, the compliance industries, they're always waiting for a perfect combination of ecology and compliance. So CISEC is still CISEC, and we just rebranded. It doesn't mean that Ecopliant Environmental bought us out. They did not. What it is we just had, they've become our parent company. So that's our first choice of environmental professionals. So, okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, since we rebranded, we're better off now, and we can align with the growing global needs where you need training, you need credentialing, expanding the demand for the environmental compliance and the professionalism and those that, choose to be out there. So now what we're able to do is not only offer the certified inspector of sediment and erosion control, we are now able to do lunch and learns, and that's under our institute. So what we decided, there's sometimes you can be out in the construction field, and you'll find that you don't really need to be certified, and you may have other people that are out there, but they need to know what an inspector is actually looking for. So now that we have Institute, we can do a 1-day training. And what's so great about that is you get all of the information that an actual trainer would get, but it's only a 1-day training. So we don't go in depth in the CGP, the EPA, and all of that. It's more of what are BMPs, what are the SWIP reports, what are all that, but you don't have to write the SWIP reports. You just know what they're looking for. And then we are able to offer, when you need continuing education credits, we're able to offer that in forms of how do you install a silk fence? What is applied polymers they just did a big one for us of what do polymers do in the water? What is the difference between going out onto a job site and saying, what is the difference between sediment control and erosion control? And so we really work with you, and they're usually 1-hour lunch and learns. And we actually offer those to our registrants. So when you become an IT or whatever you're doing with this, and you have taken the training, then we usually offer those to you for free. Then the other thing we were able to do is we can grow it even farther. So now you're not only a certified inspector in sediment erosion control, if you're a designer or reviewer, you can actually now take a review course training and take this examination, what is called CISEC, so it's certified designer in sediment erosion control. So it's just a way of growing and giving more education out in the field that everybody needs to have compliance.
I gotcha. I mean, like I was saying before, it felt like, like you were saying, that the Ecopliant didn't exist and by CISEC. It was an evolution. And it sounds like, from my standpoint, that you guys just identified some other areas that you could provide value to your certified students. And
yes.
So then they gave you the opportunity to branch out, so it wasn't confusing, right? Because if you were to offer a separate course under the CISEC flag, it would be to me, it would be confusing. Like, I thought CISEC was just one thing, which it is. And it's a very specific and thorough training. And then, then we need to be able to provide better opportunity for PDHs, because there's PDHs that need to be acquired for renewals for CISEC. And then we need to also teach people about design. Well, we can't do that underneath the CISEC flag. So you guys needed to evolve into what is now Ecopliant, so that you could maintain what was great about CISEC and then have these other offerings for your students. So that's fantastic. So now everybody knows CISEC's still here, and with even more to offer. Right.
Yes, more to offer, because the more education we're able to give people, the better off they're going to be at their jobs and doing what's needed out in the actual fields.
And then I know you guys have a pretty extensive relationship with the IECA. We already mentioned that your next live training will be at the Richmond event in February. Do you want to touch on just that relationship a little bit, and how people can I don't know if I should say leverage their IECA membership, or just take advantage of what you all have to offer over the course of the year through IECA? Do you want to touch on that partnership a little bit?
We do. With having a partnership with IECA, we're able to work with them jointly of providing what they're also doing and enhancing that. So when you're a CISEC or a CISEC or whatever you're choosing to be, you can actually go on to their website and you're able to tap into their information that they're always giving and their trainings. And then they also have lunch and learns. And it's, again, more education. And so then we try to keep up on what they're doing internationally, so that we can provide what you also need for continuing education, credits that you need, not only for CISEC, but if you've got other fields that you need that in, then, it's just that what we've chosen to do is become a partner with the International Erosion Control Association, and that's IECA.
What other countries do you all offer CISEC in? Because now the podcast has recently become international a little bit, so we've got some international listeners. So what other countries is CISEC available in?
We do it in the United States, we do it in Canada, and we do it in Malaysia.
Gotcha. So I know you had that partnership. They also have some, you guys have a strong presence in California, and it seems like recently there's some things kind of, I don't know, changing in the California regulation on the credentialing and how they want to handle that. And I think it's, it's going to have an effect on all trainers across the board. And it looks like, it's kind of up in the air. Like, well, what do I do? Do I need to continue with my, this credential or that credential? And what about my PDHs and all that? So do you want to kind of give your opinion on how Ecopliant is approaching that situation in California?
Yes, because what has happened with California, just to enlighten you a little bit, that the updates that they're doing with their permit out there, CISEC is the underlining certification for you to get your QSP. And so what has happened is once you become a CISEC, they know that you're trained. They know that you're getting continuing aid professional development hours and that, so that you can go out in what is required for the QSP certifications in California. And this is only 4 in California. So these updates will affect the existing CISEC registrants and how they can maintain their QSP certification. So prior to 2022, the CGP, the state relied on underlining certifications and those programs that were approved through the California Water Board as to qualify you to take the examination and the training to become a certified QSP. So what has happened now that what has gone through, and they're still working through this, it's not set in stone yet, as I would say, but all QSPs who hold the CISEC as their underlining certification, and then they maintain their registrant status through Ecopliant, you will get your 12 credits that you need to have that certification. Well, these can actually now be applied to the QSP professional development that they need. But what they have been stating, that once you have the underlying certification, that you're not going to, if you're a CISEC, you won't have to renew that underlying certification in the future. Well, we've really decided to think a lot about that. And the one thing that we've been thinking about to go through is there's still a great amount of uncertainty about all of this at that state level. And how's this going to play out over the next couple of years? So as an Ecopliant, we're recommending that all of our CISEC registrants maintain this underlining certification through the 2027 permit. So when that's reissued, to ensure that you're not going to lose your certification, because if things would change, then what do you do if they say now you have to have and be certified? That means you'll have to start all over again. In this case, you won't have to, because Ecopliant is offering that to you, and you are certified, and you're certified throughout the whole United States. So what that means is, let's say that you are in California, but you're going to a completely new state. That is your certification. So once you go there, you are an inspector and qualified to go in all of the other states. So that's why we encourage you to have it. If you let that lapse, you're not going to be able to use your personal certification anywhere else. So we always offered you a way to get your PDHs easy, because when you do your inspections, that gives you up to 8 hours right there. You need 12 a year. That gives you 8 hours right there. Then when you get your free lunch and learns, you do volunteer time, you do work credits. We try to make you as easy, because each year our goal is to offer a number of opportunities so that you have continuing education in the fields you're in, no matter what state you're in.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You might as well just keep it if you got it. That's kind of how it boils down to me. That's how I understood it. If you've got it, go ahead and keep it. And then with what you guys are doing through the Institute, there's, complimentary opportunity to continue your PDHs as well as discounted opportunities. So it's probably going to wash out the same. So why would I want to have to go out and retest potentially down the road, or if I were to take my career and go somewhere else? So might as well just toe the line, makes sense. Especially
absolutely. And the nicest thing is when you get a certification, and when I'm talking about it, that's yours. If you switch jobs or you go for other companies and you're working with them, that certification as a certified inspector or a designer is yours. So you can automatically just start being the inspector there. So that's always an advantage for you too on your resume.
I feel like we kind of hit the designer course pretty quick. Certified designer, sediment erosion control. Just even if it's just for my own purpose, like, could you go back over that one? I feel like we kind of touched on it, and then we kind of ran off onto some other stuff. So, I mean, obviously, CISEC I feel like is the flagship course, but then, CISEC's the newer kid on the block. Can we talk about that one a little bit more?
We can. As a designer, there needs to be requirements for effective sediment and erosion control. And that's the key word, effective. So creating practical and effective drawings, requires skill and expertise in so many areas. I mean, you've got engineering, you've got soil science, you've got meteorology, construction management, and, other things. So what we do is when we begin the review course, it's focusing on the importance of communication and cooperation, because both, communication and cooperation are two of the most important areas of BMPs, in which as designers and reviewers, contractors, inspectors, you all have to be proficient in. So you know what you're doing. And when you're designing the project, you've got to make sure that everything you put down is going to work on a job site. If not, the reviewers look at it. If there's a problem when the inspectors come on board, they talk to the contractors go back. So it's like a circle of communication that you do. So one of the other sides of an effective sediment erosion control plan, it's got to demonstrate comprehensive understanding on how to complete a project and development and being cost effective in that. So this is what, when you take the review course, you've already had a lot of this training. So then if you want to get involved more and become a designer and take our examination to be certified, it's going to require a lot more. So you need to have at least 7 years experience. So that's either 7 years experience being designing in the field, or your degree that you have that comes in. It all works together to total the 7 years. So when you review goals, concepts, modeling, you're speaking of easy ways of how to discuss this, because you're going to be going with methods of capturing sediments. You're going to be going on how to minimize erosion with your drawings of doing that. So then it's going to involve your Russell and your muscle, and so your calculations and all that. So that's all gone over again in this training, because you already have a lot of information. But then when you take the full examination and become certified, that just gives you more.
Gotcha.
In your field.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, just in hanging out with you guys over the years and watching everything evolve, just looking at those manuals that you guys provide everybody, is just the resources themselves would seem to be pretty valuable if I were somebody that was out in the field a lot, or if I was trying to design for different projects. Those manuals they're pretty thick. So
they are very thick.
By volume alone, they have a value and I have thumbed through both of them, and so they're pretty cool. But I guess cool as far as stormwater is concerned, right? Shauna, I appreciate you taking the time to come on today. I look forward to seeing you here in a few weeks when we land in Richmond, and we will put links in the show notes for anybody that would like to join us and be part of the class, as well as, I believe, you can always stop by the Ecopliant booth and say hi to Shauna. If you'd like to talk to Shauna, if you have questions about any of the courses or how you can get involved in general with Ecopliant, you can email her at marketing@ecopliant.org. That'll also be in the show notes. Any parting thoughts for our listeners before we go today?
I have to say that I appreciate getting the opportunity to come on. I value your podcasts. They're great. They're entertaining. They're, knowledgeable. And this is what's so exciting, to get this out there, because the greatest thing is to give everybody confidence and encouragement that anybody can do this. And this is what I like to do, and really show them, and you will be very trained and you will be very liked. So I just really appreciate this opportunity. And I hope if anybody has any questions, you'll give us a call and we'll help you out.
Thanks so much. Thanks again for coming on, Shauna. You have a great day.
You have the same. Thanks, Ty.